On this episode, we kick off with a huge announcement and then have our 2024 edition of The Cost of a Vacation, where we break down popular U.S. events and destinations to see which has the best value. Today's August 30th, 2024. This is episode 698 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts. Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I am your host, Jeremy Stein, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey guys! Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic, and on TikTok at MSM Podcast.
If you want to be part of the community and join the conversation, in addition to live streams from the parks and our weekly live show, head to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday.
Planning a trip to Disneyland or Walt Disney World can be overwhelming and at times just downright frustrating. But don't worry, because Mouse Dining removes the frustration of booking Disney dining reservations, alerting you when they spot availability for your desired restaurant, date, meal, and time. Visit msmfriends.com to use this free service.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
So first, we have a huge announcement, which I'm super excited about.
Yeah, we've been working behind the scenes for a little while on something, and we're finally ready to announce it.
Yeah.
And make it, I guess, public knowledge. We are partnering with MEI-Travel and Travel. They will be our trusted source for any vacation destination throughout the world, and they will be our preferred travel partner. They offer free vacation planning services, over 20 years of experience, and they've been creating magical and memorable Disney vacations, Universal vacations, vacations on cruise lines, vacations anywhere you can think of in the world.
So don't worry, don't freak out if you're thinking, oh my gosh, what happened to our amazing travel advisors? Which if you have worked with Chuck, Amy, or Alicia, you will totally be able to still go with them and everything, except unfortunately, we do have to say goodbye to Chuck. He decided to focus on his teaching and coaching career.
But don't worry, because Amy and Alicia, who many of you have worked with, will be taking over any of his clients, and they will be working under the MEI Travel and Travel umbrella. And so you will still have access to them as your trusted travel advisors. Everything else will just be within this incredible MEI Travel organization.
Yes.
And we're so excited. Becky, who owns MEI Travel, Travel, is absolutely incredible. It's just been an absolute pleasure to get to know her over the past couple of months and work on all these details. So that's big for us, and it's big for y'all as listeners. This is going to give an opportunity to grow the show even more.
Yes.
It's going to give an opportunity for Rhonda and I with the show to do more and access more, which is going to be wonderful. And yeah, we're just, in the 7 years that we've been doing this, this is the type of thing that we've been working towards, overall. And
Absolutely.
So to have this partnership is just going to be incredible.
Yeah.
What perfect episode to make this announcement than our updated cost of a vacation.
Because they can book any of these trips we're about to talk about.
Yeah, as well as anywhere else in the world, as we mentioned. And with all of this, you'll be able to go to mainstmagic.com. You'll be able to click on the travel button, as well as any of the banners or advertisements that you'll see. And you can go ahead and fill out those free quotes, free travel, everything. But what we like to do with this thing, we started back in 2019, actually. Our first one went out in December of 2019. We had another one we updated in June of 2022. Was planning to do somewhere around the similar time frame, but obviously working through this announcement and working with MEI Travel, we had to hold off a little bit. So we're going to date this one. We're going to do a trip. And the idea of this is to not only compare the cost in general of Walt Disney World, Universal Orlando here in Central Florida, but compare them to other major U.S. destinations that a family of four might travel to for a certain event or something. And so not only will we talk about the overall cost, and you can see how the cost of food, the actual ticketing and stuff compares, hotels and resorts, what those prices look like all throughout the United States. But then we actually break it down where we look at the value of that trip and which destination and vacation actually offers the best value by breaking it down at cost per hour.
Yes.
And we'll kind of go through a little bit of that more as we go through. So what we did is we selected for this one, it's going to be a 1-date, 1-night trip for a family of 4, which will be 2 adults, 2 children under the age of 18. We selected September 14th to the 15th and pretty much picked that because that's my birthday. So I thought, hey, let's look at that one. So went for those dates and compared throughout what it looks like for that family of 4. Travel to the destination is not included in our numbers because that varies so much.
It does.
If you're coming to Disney, for example, for us, that travel is the cost of gas.
Correct.
But if you're coming from Maryland, that's the cost of that flight. But if you're coming from California, that's a very different cost. So we didn't want to include that or anything like a rental car once you actually get to your destination.
Right. And some people might not fly. They might still do gas driving from Maryland.
Yeah. So everything is just too variable for that one. We're doing the 1 day, the 1 night. For the hotel, we're basically looking at the rack rate at whatever current promotion is going on as far as like if you're a member or something. So if you're a Bonvoy member, we looked at what that Marriott price costs and stuff would look like for that. We did not include resort parking or any additional parking at all within our pricing because, again, that varies whether you have a car or not. Right. But we'll tell you what it is. So, again, you can get in your mind what that looks like. For each of these, we included a lunch, selected a bar and grill style restaurant, sit-down restaurant for lunch, and we put the time at that at 45 minutes. And why does the time matter? Well, it will in the end when we break down the cost per hour, right? We're going to have the kids split a adult entree meal. Again, just for simplicity, we have included the applicable tax within that location, as well as added a 20% tip. Okay. So it makes it even across the board. Then dinner, we selected a steakhouse, signature style restaurant. This is going to be 70 minutes, so a longer sit down, a little bit of a nicer meal. Again, kids are going to split an adult entree, same tax, 20% tip. Yep. And then with each of the locations that we chose, we tried to keep the menu items pretty similar. So like you'll find out most of the time for lunch, we went with like some sort of soft pretzel appetizer. We went with a salad for one adult, a burger for another adult. And then for the kids split, we went anywhere from like a burger to a pizza to chicken. Again, things that line up. Right. Did the same thing for dinner. We do include alcoholic beverages for these because when we first did these, we were drinking alcoholic beverages. A lot of people still do. So I think it's a good way to put the cost in there because if you just put, water for all of these or soda, I think we find that those costs are just so much similar or again, free for water. So we just want to at least put some sort of cost in there.
And just think if you don't drink, then you're actually saving, you're going to come out on top.
You're saving all this money, right? For the event, we're doing a single event. Now, as you see, this will go everything from a single sporting event to concert event to a day at the parks. And then we took the allotted time per that event. And that's what we're going to factor into our overall costs. So when we did this back and we did the version, which was basically 2020, because we were actually pricing out things that were happening in December of 2019 to 2022, that average cost of inflation during that time period was 11.7%. Okay. Since we did this in June of 2022, now to September of 2024, it is 7.5%. So again, you'll also get to see how those inflation rates compare to the increase, decrease of cost over all these different trips. So one thing that was very interesting that I looked up, especially as we talk about some of these, because you will see some prices fluctuate, some will go up, some will go down, surprisingly. Doing some research and through NBCnews.com, they were talking about concerts specifically, and that they have seen a decrease in concert attendance, which has also caused a lot of concert pricing to go down. On some of your more average stars, they have seen, they think that there's a lot of fatigue with concerts and how much they cost. You had the Black Keys and you had J-Lo both cancel complete 2024 arena-style huge concerts. The Black Keys, I think, saw actually the numbers of ticket sales. They didn't like them, so they canceled their major arena tour and they went to a smaller venue tour. J-Lo just canceled completely.
Wow.
Another thing is, while Taylor Swift is still touring, a lot of these megastars, Taylor Swift's tour, Beyonce, tickets went on sale long before we were doing a lot of this research.
Mm-hmm.
And so there aren't a lot of these megastar tours that are coming in like 2025.
Right.
So there's probably some decrease there. And then, as you can imagine, because we tried to pick hotel and resort destinations that were close to whatever, venue or event that we were doing, you have to assume some of those potentially went down because, some of these events have gone down. Now, another thing, we totally understand that seasons make a difference.
Yes.
We understand that the first year we did this was a December. The second time we did this was June. Now we're doing it in September. If you go from summer, depending on location, obviously, those prices can often be a lot higher compared to going into our mid-September when people are back in school.
Right.
It's just before all the holidays kick in.
Yes.
So again, we understand that. And we're not as concerned with doing this in the way that it compares to the 2-year change as much as we are comparing, almost apples to apples.
Okay.
In a sense, that's what you're really looking at. What is the cost of a soft pretzel if you go to this place compared to this place?
Right.
So that's what we'll get into. All right. Our very first location, Rhonda, where is our family of 4 headed to? And what are we going to take in?
Well, before I say it, this is where I always like to say thank you, Jeremy, for doing all of this amazing and hard work research, because I didn't do any. I'm just about to read and slash conversate with him. So I always want to say thank you, because y'all wouldn't have this without him. So anyways, all right, we are going to go to New York and we are going to see a Broadway show.
Yeah. So we're going to stay. And again, all of these are the same year after year. The hotels, the event as we can. Some of them you'll hear have changed and we'll tell you why and all. And then we're going to look at the same actual dining locations. So we're going to the exact same restaurants. Like I said, ordering the same thing. We're going to go down to Times Square and stay at the New York Marriott Marquis. This is a cool one to pick because Rhonda and I have actually stayed here.
We did. It was super cool.
When we were dating, before I moved to Florida, I was still in Maryland. Rhonda came up to visit for a week in December of, it would have been 2004, actually.
Okay.
And we spent a week together. It was going to be the longest we had ever spent together. We were flying back and forth between basically Maryland and Florida. Every other weekend or so to see each other. So this was our test, was doing this. And part of that week-long test, we went to New York for 2 nights.
We did.
And this is where we stayed. So I thought that was pretty cool. All right. So for a deluxe guest room, which includes 2 double beds, what is the price? All in, tax title. If there are resort fees, we're including them to stay here for one evening.
$664.46.
Whoo. Just because we'll talk about it, pricing there for parking for one night is $95 per night.
Wow.
That has not changed in the past 2 years, but it actually has gone up $30 since we first did this at the end of 2019.
Wow.
Right? So what Broadway show, Rhonda, are we going to take the kids to see?
Oh, we're going to go see The Lion King.
Yeah. This will be an exact cost comparison from 2022. The first year we did this, we did Frozen. That is no longer on Broadway in New York. It is now touring.
Nice.
So we went with Lion King. We're going to go to the 2 p.m. show, and we had to adjust things a little bit. So this will actually be on September 10th is what we're doing this one for. Same as we've done the past 2 years. We're going to select an orchestra seating section. And how much are you looking at for that family of 4, Rhonda, for those 4 tickets?
$890.
Yeah, so it is up a little bit from 2 years ago when it topped out at $1,040.
Wow.
Now, your Broadway show is going to take you roughly 140 minutes to sit down and enjoy.
Okay.
So that's going to factor into our time. All right. For lunch, we are sitting down at Lily's Craft and Kitchen. Rhonda, why don't you talk about our appetizer, entree, and beverages and what those costs look like for each?
Yeah. So our appetizer, of course, is a hot baked pretzel for $11. Entree, I got an avocado salad for $17. Jeremy got a crab cake burger for $22. And for the kids, they did a create your own burger for $15. Drinks are Pinot Grigio. I got some wine for $14, and Jeremy did a Moscow Mule for $17.
Yeah, so this totals out at $125.34 when you include tax and a 20% tip for your lunch. Let's move on to dinner. We're going to go to the world famous Gallagher's Steakhouse. And what are we eating here, Rhonda?
An appetizer of shrimp and lobster dumplings for $19. Filet mignon, a 10 ounce for $58. A Faroe Islands salmon grilled or broiled for $39. Brussels sprouts for $16. Chopped steak for $28. Baked potato for $10. And with drinks, we're going with a Pinot Grigio again for $17 and a beer for $14.
Yeah, so this totals out to $262.43.
Ooh.
And the reason that you're going to see in some of these, the sides, when you get to the sit-down dinners, especially as it comes to a steakhouse like Brussels sprouts or baked potato, is it was dependent on the steakhouse we selected on if it was a complete entree meal with sides or a more traditional steakhouse where you add them.
Right.
So again, it's just trying to keep them on kind of the same level. All right. So by the time you're done, when you take the time, and again, we're talking event only. We're not talking about, you getting there and maybe walking around Times Square and shopping, or because that's not the reason you're technically going. Right.
Right.
So this comes up to 4 hours. 4.25 hours. So that includes both meals, time of show. Your grand total for this trip, as we've described, is $1,942.23. Now, that is only a 1.64% increase from 2 years ago when we did this.
Wow.
If you're wondering what that increase looked like between 2019 in December and June of 2022, it was 16.4% increase.
Wow.
So much smaller, right? So when you break that down and you take the total cost of this trip for your specific Broadway show, you divide it by the number of hours, your cost per hour comes out to $456.99. So again, only a 1.64% increase since the last time we did this. So not too bad.
Okay.
So if you went to New York 2 years ago to do this, it's going to cost you about the same.
Not bad.
Which is really nice after 2 years. Very shocking. Okay. Where are we headed next? And we're making this a family trip because of who we're going to see and the reason we're going.
Yes. We're headed to Vegas, and we're going to see the Blue Men Group.
Yes, we're going to stay at the MGM Grand Hotel and Casino. This is a grand 2-queen strip view, and the cost for one night all in, $599.78. Parking, shockingly, in the heart of Vegas on the strip would only be $18 a night.
That's not bad.
That's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
So we are going to see the Blue Man Group.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to sit in that orchestra section, the same one we've always priced out. And the cost of this will be $552.48 for the family of four. That is actually down around $40 from 2 years ago.
Wow, that's very nice.
Right? Your length of show to see the Blue Man Group. Have you seen the Blue Man Group?
Mm-hmm. We
They're
saw it in
amazing.
Vegas.
We saw it together.
Yes.
I couldn't remember if I went with you or Matt.
Oh
My
my
apologies.
goodness.
I do remember going to see the Bodies exhibit with you because I felt ill the whole time. That thing was nuts.
You did. It was super.
crazy.
I thought it was super
It was
cool.
amazing, but it still made me nauseous while it was amazing. If you've never, I don't know where, it was a touring exhibit. This has been years. And this has been well over a decade, if not 15 years or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bodies exhibit was super fascinating, though. It was a scientific exhibit. It took actual human bodies and cadavers and did things like had an entire layout of all like the veins, like actual human veins and the way that they sit through a body, like in between two pieces of plexiglass. There were like, cross hatches of like brain. It was crazy. It was very cool, but still made me want to throw up. So your show is going to take you 105 minutes to watch.
Yeah.
Right. So lunch, we are going to tap inside. It's a bar and grill inside of MGM. Rhonda, let's go through our dining. What are we eating?
Appetizer or pretzel and cheese for $18. Entrees, we're going to do a cheese steak for $22. Burger and fries for $23. And chicken fingers and fries for $23. Drinks, we're going to go with a Pinot Grigio for $12 and a Manhattan for $15. Bringing your grand total to $144.89.
Yeah, for that meal, it's up about $20 from 2 years ago.
Okay.
Not too bad. For dinner, we're going to go to Delmonico Steakhouse at the Venetian. I believe this is where we went with friends and the four of us split that ridiculously sized steak. Was it there? You know what? I think it was at Treasure Island.
It was Treasure Island.
Okay.
Yep.
But it was a massive
Yes,
steak.
it was. It was.
All right. So what are we eating here?
For the appetizer, we are going to get New Orleans barbecue shrimp for $28. The entrees, we're going to get a 9-ounce filet mignon for $70.
Wow.
Sea bass for $65. And then we're going to add some Brussels sprouts for $16. We're going to get some grilled chicken breast for the kids for $42. Drinks, I'm going to go with Pinot Grigio again for $16 and a beer for $8, bringing your grand total to $314.14.
Whew. That is a lot.
That's a lot of money.
That's an expensive dinner. But,
yes, it is.
And that is up a pretty good amount. That's up about $30 from 2 years ago.
Okay.
So this breaks down as cost per hour is going to come down to 3.66 hours of total time. That includes your show and your meals. That's going to bring you to $1,611.29 total. That's a 1.81% decrease from 2 years ago.
Wow.
From 2019 to 2022, it was a 28% increase.
Jeez.
Right?
That's crazy.
So that breaks down to $440.24 per hour. Again, 1.81% decrease. Right? So this one's actually gone down. It's cheaper to go to Vegas and see the Blue Man Group than it was in June of 2022.
Okay.
If this keeps going down at that
surprising.
percentage, we can afford to go see them in 39 years. So that's good.
Oh,
to know.
okay.
Just keep it up, guys.
Well, good.
All right, next, Rhonda's favorite thing maybe on this
Yes.
trip outside of a Walt Disney World
Yes, it
vacation, I
is.
bet, is we're going to go skiing in Breckenridge.
Yes.
September, not the best time to ski up there at that time.
Nope.
So we had to push this out and do a date. It's another Saturday, November 9th to 10th in 2024. We are going to stay at one ski hill place, which we priced out the past 2 years, in a studio condominium for only $415.04 per night. That actually includes parking.
Okay.
So not bad on the, I
Not
feel like
bad.
on the hotel stay. All right, Rhonda, why don't you talk about the cost of skiing? Because I don't know what half this stuff is.
Well, you get a ski ticket, and a 1-day ski ticket with the lift and everything is $348 per person.
All four people.
All four people?
Yes, that's all four people.
Because I'm like, wait a minute. Ooh,
It's
that's
expensive to ski, though.
It is, though. And then you obviously have to get your ski rentals, which includes skis, boots, and a helmet. And this is for all four people for $834.52.
Yeah.
But this will be 6 hours of skiing.
Yeah. So you have a much
So-
longer time period that
Mhm.
you're getting to enjoy this. And that's the reason we wanted to do this, to show that cost per hour.
Yeah.
You know, you can enjoy a day of skiing for a longer period of time than a, 2-hour show seeing the Blue Man Group or whatever.
And if you're wondering why it's only 6 hours, because they usually do night skiing, and that is a separate ticket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So, and I will say those ski rentals went up almost $400 in
Wow.
the 2 years, which
Wow.
is pretty nuts.
Yeah.
For lunch, we're going to head to Robbie's Tavern. I will say one thing is, going through all these menus, it makes you just want to eat. There's a lot of wonderful menus, and it's neat to go through them all, even
Yep.
though we're looking for these specific items.
Yeah.
But also, every single place has some form of pretzel, which is great. Makes this job easier.
Okay.
So let's talk about food.
Yeah, our appetizer is pretzel knots for $17, a crispy cob for entrees for $19, Spitfire burger for $20, the Sunny pizza for $18. Drinks, will do a Pinot Gris, which is $18, and a Grand Mule, which is $17, bringing your grand total to $142.40 for this lunch.
Yeah, up about $30 from the last time we did this. For dinner, we're going to go get our seafood app. We're going to get our steaks and fish. We're going to go to Salt Creek Steakhouse. Run us through our menu items and costs here, Rhonda.
Our appetizer, we're going to do a crab cake for $16. Entrees, we've got an 8-ounce filet mignon for $60. Black cod for $38. A pesto pasta primavera for $32. And your drinks, we're going to do with a Pinot Grigio at $14 and a beer for $12, bringing your grand total to $224.71.
Yeah, we're up about $10 from the last time. What is crazy, from that first time we did it in December 2019 to June of 2022, it went up almost $60 for this same meal.
Wow.
So what you'll see throughout this entire thing is that December 2019 pandemic in between,
right,
into June of 2022, it's insane to see the cost differences and the inflation there compared to what it is, now between June and 2022. So when you do all this, your 6 hours skiing, your meals, that is 7.92 hours. Your grand total for this vacation ended up being $1,964.67. Based on those ski rentals specifically,
Ooh.
This had an almost 24% increase since we did this last
That's
time.
a lot.
Yeah. It breaks down to $248.06 per hour, up almost $50 from the last time. And again, almost a 24% increase. So again, this is one of those, we got to do a level playing field.
Right.
If you have your own ski boots and all that stuff, you can certainly save a lot of money going here, a ridiculous amount.
Yeah.
And again, this is only one day. That's the other thing you have to think about
Right.
is multiply some of these. You know what I mean? Imagine you're going skiing and you're going up there for a week.
Right.
And you're doing 3 or 4 days of skiing. Now, with everything, usually the more you play, the less you pay.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
Yes.
obviously some of these things, the more days you buy, most likely that cost per day goes down, but we want to put this all on the same level.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next, still beautiful in September, if not year round. We're heading way south, southernmost point of the United States. We're heading to beautiful Key West, Florida, and we are going to go snorkeling.
Okay.
Right. So this is our main event. We're going to stay at the southernmost beach resort in a deluxe 2-queen. The cost for this 2 years ago was almost $700 a night.
Wow.
Now for this date, it is $563. Again, you can look at going from more peak summer in June to coming out in September. Parking there would be $42 if you got to bring a vehicle per night.
Okay.
All right. For our outing, we are going to go to Key West Reef Snorkel. We're going to do it in the afternoon at 1 p.m. This is a 3-hour tour.
That's kind of
hopefully
scary.
you come back from. You don't get stuck on an island somewhere. But if you do, hopefully you have a professor with you and a ginger. I would have a ginger with me. So
yes, you would.
And this cost for those 4 people is going to be $226.79. This has gone up almost $50 the past 2 years.
That's not bad, though, for...
No, it's not at all. I mean, that's a great family of 4 outing for 3 hours of time.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. You could go down and, we'll share these notes. If you've not already, you can go to our website and you can join our email list. And every Monday now, we're sending out an email, which not only includes the latest in news, but it includes our episodes that came out that week, as well as usually some behind-the-scenes stuff. So when we send this one out, I'll include all these notes in a PDF. So if you want to go back and do additional math and actually go, all right, 3 hours, $226, that value per hour just for that event is this compared to concert, compared to other things. We're going to stay right there at the resort, which is super nice. And we're going to eat at Southernmost Beach Cafe. What are we eating here, Rhonda? Because so far, this is the meal I want to go have mostly because we're sitting in Key West. But
well, appetizer, we're going to do conch fritters for $22. We're going to do a classic Caesar for $16, a Somo burger for $20, and chicken tenders platter for $18. Drinks, we're going to do a Pinot Grigio for $11 and a mojito for $11, bringing your grand total to $126.42.
Yeah, so that's up $7 from the past 2 years.
Not bad.
About $25 from the first and second time we did this. One thing I was very shocked to see, because I try to keep everything the same. When we originally did this, I included a Pusser's painkiller because it is a very well-known drink, especially here in Florida and in the Caribbean. Pusser's rum is a actual brand. I won. I know I've told this story. I had a buddy give me a trip who worked for a radio station. It was sponsored by Pusser's rum, and it was sponsored by Jose Cuervo. Red Stripe was like the major sponsors of this trip. And so Pusser's painkillers were flowing there. And the reason they call them a painkiller is because if anything ails you, literally one of these will kill that pain.
Okay.
They are strong. Dinner. We are going to go to the A&B Lobster House. What are we getting, Rhonda? I know you're going to enjoy the appetizer.
Yeah, some oyster Rockefeller, $20, filet mignon, $66, some grilled grouper for $52, shrimp fettuccine for $39, a Pinot Grigio for $11, and a beer for $7, bringing your grand total to $251.54.
Up about $15 from our previous incarnation, so not a big increase. All right, so this ends up breaking down with that 3-hour tour. Unless it turns into a much longer one because you get, shipwrecked on an island. 4.92 hours.
Yeah.
$1,168.17. Pretty affordable compared to some of the other stuff so far. This is a 5.6% decrease since the last time we did it. From 2019 to 2022, that was a 21% increase.
Wow.
So your final breaks down to $237.43 per hour. Again, 5.6% decrease. That actually went up 33% in price from 19 to 22.
Wow.
Next up, we are going to see a concert, and we have selected to go to Washington, D.C.
Oh.
Seemed like a good place to put on our list, right? This year... So in the past, the first time we did it, we went to see the Hella Mega Tour with Weezer, Fall Out Boy, and Green Day, right? We're trying to look at these kind of like equal larger tours, something that's a little bit equal. The last time we did this, we went to the stadium tour, saw Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, and Joan Jett. For this year in September, we do not have any sort of popular bands from 20 and 30 and 40 years ago touring. But you know who we do have? We have Justin Timberlake touring, right? And I looked at a comparison. It really would. So I looked at a comparison between Timberlake. I looked at Nicki Minaj, and I looked at Jelly Roll. And based on the years, I thought Justin Timberlake was pretty suitable since he's been around for decades to have that same type of thing. I found that, and I'm not making light of it, but I found it interesting that it was called the Forgot Tomorrow World Tour. Considering, unfortunately, his recent, interaction with the police and DUI, is it could have been called Forget Yesterday, because I'm sure he would like to forget that happened.
Yeah.
But, So anyway, let's talk hotel. We're going to stay at the Hampton Inn and Suites in the Washington, D.C. Navy Yard. 2 queen beds, non-smoking. This actually went down significantly since last time. It is now $335.10 for the night. If you want to do parking there, it is valet only for $70 a night.
Oh, wow.
Whew, that is up there. Not quite New York, $95 a night status. But looking at tickets for this tour, and by the way, if you would like parking here, it is $100 to park.
Holy crap.
And this is at the Capital One Arena. So
I'd be getting an
Uber.
Uber.
There, I would be getting an Uber.
But I wonder how much an Uber would be.
Not $100.
But if it's $100 and they know that, I would personally charge like...
Oh, I guarantee there's some jacked up flex pricing, especially when you're coming out of the concert.
Right.
Now, for a lot of these, we did select hotels that are potentially within walking distance.
Oh, okay, good.
So you can take your chances there. But so for 4 tickets, this show starts at 7:30. Picked section 104, which is comparable to the same sections and areas that we've done in the past.
Okay.
The past 2 times we did this, it was actually at the Nationals park where the Nationals play.
Okay.
The only big concert that was happening there was the HF Festival, shockingly, which is coming back. But it just doesn't fall on this same level because it is like all day, tons of bands.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
So,
yep.
But this would cost for those 4 tickets $967.80.
Okay.
Which is not very surprising because, we're going to see 21 Pilots here in a few weeks at Kia Center down in Orlando. And those were around $400 or so just for the 2 of us.
Oh my gosh.
So that makes sense, right? It's insane. We're going to give a 3-hour time block for this concert. That's given JT about an hour and a half or so to play. That's going to give you an opener of about 45 minutes, maybe a half hour in between, stuff like that.
Okay.
So we're going to go to the nearby Blue Jacket Brewery for lunch. People mostly know what food we're getting, but let's get specific on the name of the items here and how much they cost.
Jumbo everything pretzel for $15.
Best pretzel I've seen so far. We still
I do
split
not.
this? We still eat it?
No.
You won't eat everything?
Oh,
pretzel?
I can probably take
You
that
probably
off.
scrape
Yeah.
it off. I can't believe you don't like it has everything you like in it, right?
I don't know.
Do you like onion?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you like garlic?
Yeah.
Do you like salt?
No. Just kidding.
You like, do you like poppy seeds? Right? Like
Sure.
everything you like. Okay. Move
I don't
on.
know. Anyways, a farmstead salad for $17, a big train burger for $20, fried chicken sandwich for $18. Gonna go with a Pinot Gris for $12 and a Moscow Mule for $15, bringing your grand total $128.04.
Yeah, not far up from the last time we did this. This is actually only going up about $13.
Not bad.
So pretty good after 2 years. For dinner, we are going to dine at Charlie Palmer Steakhouse.
We're gonna get a Maryland crab roll appetizer for $30. We're gonna get filet mignon for $58. We're gonna get king salmon for $38. Cream spinach we're gonna add on for $12. And get the half roasted chicken for $30. Drinks, I'm going to do a Riesling for $12 and a beer for $8, bringing your grand total to $248.16.
What's very interesting, first of all, this has only gone up $5 since the last time we did this. But what was interesting about this specific place is that I had to really find comparable items because their menu has changed so much. So, for example, like the first year or the first time we did this, there was a blue crab cocktail. Right? That was gone the second time we did it, and they had a shrimp cocktail. So I said, okay, that's pretty comparable, right? This time, they didn't have either one of them. They had this Maryland crab roll, which is much still like a crab cocktail. For the salmon that, Rhonda priced out, first time we had to use swordfish, then it was halibut, now it's salmon. Like even the chicken had changed. So it was just interesting to see, some of these have had the exact same menus for what ends up being the past almost 5 years. And then some of them vary it up a little bit.
Wow.
Okay, so cost per hour. We have spent a total of 4.92 hours on this specific event, concert, dining. That's going to cost you $1,680 and one little penny. That is actually down 0.71% from the last time we did it, which goes along with that NBC News article, which has seen Live Nation specifically, which is owned by Ticketmaster, which is really interesting. So not to go off on too much of a sidebar. First of all, Ticketmaster is a monopoly. I know they've been fighting this for years. Pearl Jam kicked this off when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And, for the first time ever, really somebody went to battle Ticketmaster. And Pearl Jam did it. And they basically came up with their own ticketing system. This would have been, I believe, 96 or 97. I think I was a senior when this happened. So Pearl Jam, back then, we would go to JCPenney's at the local mall, at Lake Forest Mall.
And get
Maryland,
pictures? Just kidding.
and you could get your glamour shots.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, they had a Ticketmaster location inside of their customer service area. And that was the only way you could get tickets. You had to go to a Ticketmaster. You couldn't get them online. So Pearl Jam said, well, we're not going to use Ticketmaster. We're going to do an entire tour, and we're going to have a phone number and available days, times, whatever, that you're going to call for the specific concert that you want to go to. And that's how you'll get them. So think of now, they say, all right, and there weren't all these pre-sales back then. Like right now, if a ticket goes on sale on Friday, September 13th, on September 10th, there's pre-sale for Fan Club. And then on September 11th, there's pre-sale for Live Nation members. And then there's radio. And then there's all this crap. There was none of that junk, right? You just got your dang ticket. So I was in Bob Eiler's class in my senior year, which was woodshop. Mr. Eilers was the best. Favorite teacher I've ever had. And he was nice enough because think about it, there's no cell phones. I'm in high school. He let us use his office phone, the school phone, to call and secure these tickets.
Oh my goodness.
And I still have it somewhere. Pearl Jam took care of everything. They printed the tickets. They mailed the tickets. So it's this big ticket. It doesn't look like a ticket. It's this big special kind of ticket that you got for the Pearl Jam tour. And it was just amazing. And again, you had to go and present this ticket, which they ripped off a perforated area.
Like Polar Express ticket?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, it was big. It was much bigger than a regular ticket. And so now, though, most everything has to go through Ticketmaster. There are some others that are coming up. But what I find interesting, because, I've bought a lot of tickets recently in the past year between going to see Blue October. We're going to see 21 Pilots, Creed's coming up that I'm going to see. Even though if you go through Live Nation, it doesn't have all the same costs and fees that Ticketmaster does. So, but they're not all offered by that. Like House of Blues in Orlando is exclusively through, most of the time, Live Nation. And it comes out cheaper than if they were using Ticketmaster. I don't know. It's interesting. So let's go to our next event. This one's going to be a little bit different. We're going to talk a little bit more about the 2019, just based on the timing of the way we did these. We're going to go to a football game. We're going to see the Arizona Cardinals versus Los Angeles Rams. This is going to be on Sunday, September 15th, 2024. The first year that we did this in 2019, because it was football season, we went ahead and did Arizona Cardinals versus Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
Back in June, the ticket pricing and all was not yet available when we did this in June of 2022 for us to price out football. So we did a baseball game.
Yes.
Baseball game in Arizona is significantly cheaper. So we'll actually talk about this and how it compares more to 2019. But we're going to stay at the Renaissance Phoenix Glendale Hotel and Spa, 2 queen beds, $390.42 a night. This is actually down almost $200.
Wow.
Since 2022.
Wow.
Right? Parking would be $20 a night if you needed it. All right. Tickets to State Farm Stadium, where the Cardinals play, for a 1:05 p.m. game. We're going to be in Section 239. When we did this in 2019, we priced out Section 233. So we're in the general same area. And all of these, through the research, I pick things that are available.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just to really see that actual cost. I don't want to have to guess. And so for those tickets, $2,035.
Okay.
Just for those 4 tickets.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is going to be 200 minutes. So over 3 hours, you do get to enjoy this football game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this doesn't include tailgating. This doesn't include parking at the stadium. Like, for lunch, we're going to hit the Yard House, which is actually a chain. It's a very good chain.
Okay.
I would compare Yard House, if you have one near you. They're all over the U.S. It is like the bar and grill Cheesecake Factory.
Okay.
It's on that same kind of level.
Yeah.
The menu is absurd. Everything you could
like
ever want to eat
Cheesecake
is
Factory?
there. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely absurd. Let's talk about food there.
We're going to get a Bavarian jumbo pretzel for $13.99. I'm going to get a Cobb salad for $16.99, pepper jack burger for $16.49, and a cheese pizza for $15.99. Drinks, we're going to do Pinot Gris for $12 and a Moscow Mule for $11.29, bringing your grand total to $114.72.
Yeah, up about $15.
Not bad.
Since last time. Not too bad. For dinner, we are going to head to Fleming's Prime Steakhouse and Wine Bar. What are we ordering here, Rhonda?
Some sweet chili calamari for $23. Yes, it does.
Now it does.
An 8-ounce filet mignon for $56. Glazed sea bass for $53. We're going to add on some cream spinach for $17 and a double breast of chicken for $39. Drinks, we're going to do a Pinot Grigio for $15 and a beer for $8, bringing your grand total to $279.02.
Yep, we're up about $30.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this comes out to 5.25 total hours. Your overall cost is $2,819.84 to go see a football game.
Jeez.
I mean, and again, you factored in a hotel here,
right?
But even if you're local and you still said, you know what, we're going to grab something to eat before. We're not going to, we're not going to tailgate. We're going to go to the game, and then afterwards we're going to grab dinner. Even if you minus that hotel, this is like $2,500. It's crazy.
But even if you minus the hotel, but then you factor in the tailgating.
Oh yeah, or getting anything in the stadium
and parking.
Yeah, and parking.
And then getting stuff in the stadium.
Yeah, it's nuts. So what we'll talk about is that since 2019, when we did this, because it is more apples to apples than comparing to a baseball game, there was a 12.3 increase since 2019 on your total cost. Now, if you break it down per hour, this comes down to $537.11 per hour of enjoyment of those meals in that game.
Wow.
It's a lot.
That is.
Which again, 12.3% increase only from 2019, right?
Okay.
So, but if you look at it from going to a baseball game 2 years ago, it would be up 42%.
Wow.
So that's a lot. Like, it really is significantly more expensive to go to a football game than a baseball game.
Yeah.
Okay. We've gone over 8 wonderful, I think, locations throughout the United States that you and your family could visit, right? We've priced all those out.
Mm-hmm.
What really is interesting to see is what that would look like if you decided to take your day and night family trip to either Universal Orlando Resort or Walt Disney World. So let's talk about those two, right? Let's break those down.
All right. Let's do it.
We're going to head to Universal Orlando Resort first. We're going to stay at Lowe's Royal Pacific Resort. Standard 2-queen room is going to cost you $544.50, which is shockingly down over $100 from the last time we priced this out in June of 2022. Again, you're talking a summer season starting to, in between the holidays.
Right.
Now, parking at Universal for their now what they call Signature Collection hotels is $31 a night self-parking. Okay, so remember that.
Yeah.
Tickets. Now, you would never normally do this, but if you were to get a 2-park, 1-day park-to-park ticket at Universal Orlando, because normally you're going to go more probably for a day, but this is a great comparison for folks that are staying at Disney and maybe you want to tack on that 1 day, right?
Correct.
Which, again, our advisors, our partners with MEI-Travel can do this for you.
Yes.
It's going to cost you $869.04. Now, you got to remember, because we're staying at a signature hotel at Royal Pacific, you are going to have Express Pass included.
Mm-hmm.
It is a huge cost benefit.
Huge.
And highly recommend you stay at those resorts, of course.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to spend 8 hours total in the park, which is on a shorter end, to be honest.
Okay,
because
why?
you really think about it. Because I still want to make these as equal as possible. I didn't want to put you're only going to spend 3 hours in a park, just like a football game. But 8 hours, let's just say that you had to travel down that morning.
But technically, you could stay a lot longer.
You could be there from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. You could do 12 hours.
Okay.
But let's say 8. Let's just say that you're getting in. You're not going to have a chance by the time you get into Universal Orlando. You check into your hotel. You get over to the park around 12 or so. You stay till about 8. So that's kind of where we're going with this. For lunch, we are going to dine at Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville right there in City Walk. What are we eating? What are we paying?
We're getting some pretzel sticks for $13.95. We're going to get a chicken Caesar salad for $19.95. We're going to get a cheeseburger in paradise for $18.95. We're going to get a grilled chicken sandwich for $18.95. We're going to do drinks, and we're going to get a Who's to Blame margarita for $14.75 and a Pinot Gris for $12.50, bringing your grand total to $126.59.
Up about $16 since the last time we did it. Not too bad. One thing I did realize going through all of these is that eating and living and stuff, it's pretty expensive.
Yes.
I mean, it's crazy to think, most of these are ranging between $100 to $125 for a sit-down lunch. I mean, it really is nuts. I mean, shoot, we went for coffee this morning. New Dutch Brothers opened, which we'd never had. And because we just joined, it was great. We got a free coffee, but a large coffee, a medium coffee, and then a muffin top. Not even the whole muffin, right? Just the top of it. It was going to be like $18. Like, that is crazy to think about.
Yeah, but it was only 10.
Like a lot. Yeah, because we had the free drink. So if you have a Dutch Brothers, you have never been, sign up for their app, immediately get a free medium drink.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to dinner. We got to do a good steakhouse in the Universal Orlando Resort. And I can tell you right now, if we finally go to this steakhouse, we've not been to it. This might be the meal exactly as we order it, potentially. Yes. What are we eating here?
Crispy calamari frit for $23, an 8-ounce filet mignon for $58, a sea bass fillet for $51. We're going to add on some cream spinach for $13.50. We're going to get chicken parmigiana for $40. We're going to do a Riesling for a drink for $15, beer for $13, bringing your grand total to $272.86.
$7 difference from 2 years ago.
Right, not bad.
Right? Pretty good.
We could totally kind of
We'll swap out the sea bass, right?
You're gonna eat swap out that. I don't know about the cream spinach. We wouldn't have to do the chicken, and we wouldn't be getting alcoholic drinks.
True. So we could save a lot on this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if you're me and you grew up on the movies I grew up watching, you can't hear sea bass without laughing because you think of a certain movie. Jim Carrey. Yeah, you can't say those words, Rhonda.
It's
a family show. But then it doesn't sound as funny. It doesn't rhyme. Okay. We're spending a total of 9.92 hours because we got that 8-hour day in the parks, right?
Yeah.
Your grand total for this trip to Universal Orlando Resort will be $1,812.89. Now, this is only a 4.22% increase from June of 2022. That's pretty dang good. That is under the normal inflation rate.
Yes, it is.
Right? This is going to bring your per hour cost to $182.75. So again, only 4.23% increase from the last time we did it.
Nice.
Let's end it off with, I think, your favorite place on earth, my favorite place on earth.
Yes.
Right? It's the most magical place on earth.
Yes,
Let's go to
is.
Disney World.
Yes, it is.
We're going to stay because it is comparable by level and theme to Royal Pacific. We're going to go to the Polynesian Village Resort. We're going to stay in a standard view, 2-queen room. This is going to come out to $875.25 a night.
Ooh wee.
This is another reason to use our wonderful travel advisors, right?
Yes. 100%.
Because this is a rack rate.
Yeah.
Right now, during the same time, you're looking at Florida resident rates. You're looking at certain fall rates. You're looking at, package deals, which we did not include. We're pricing these separate, but this is why you use a travel advisor.
100%.
Because they will take that $875 per night. It's not going to cost that by the time they figure out what is best for you.
Right.
Another great reason to use a travel advisor is when you say, I would like to stay at Poly, and they tell you the price per night, it might change your idea of saying, you know what? That really isn't in our budget.
Right.
What else can we do?
Right.
And they're going to give you all those comparisons.
Absolutely.
So, make sure you do that. All right. Of course, no parking now at Disney. When we did this before, both times we did this before, we had to say there was $25 a night parking.
Wow.
It's the only cost I think Disney's ever gone back on.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing.
It is.
For tickets, we are going to do a 1-day park hopper for each of our folks and our family to try and get a little bit on par with getting that free express pass or included express pass over at Universal. We are going to add the Lightning Lane multi-pass for each person, and we're going to go ahead and do the 2 paid single passes, right? We're going to do one for Rise of Resistance. We're going to say you go to Hollywood. We're going to do one for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train at Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
Right, so you're going to add that cost in there. The ticket-only cost comes out to $984.08. That's not bad because as a comparison with Universal, you're looking at $869 for a 1-day hopper, which only includes 2 parks. This includes all 4.
Correct.
If you're not staying at Royal Pacific, if you're not staying at a Signature Collection, you're not getting Express Pass. So
Right.
the actual ticket cost is very, very similar to Disney. So if everybody acts like Disney is so much more expensive in that realm per ticket,
Right.
it's not. Now, what takes Disney, unfortunately, to the next level is adding that multi-pass and those single passes because those are $259.86 per day for all 4 folks in your family.
But cannot be as bad as buying Express Pass if you were staying at a dockside at Universal.
Sure. Oh, it would be a lot more expensive.
Yes.
Of course, another thing.
It could be that per person.
Yes. Now, another thing, because we're only doing 1 day of ticketing,
Mm-hmm.
if you were doing 2 days of tickets over at that Universal, staying at a Signature, you will get that Express Pass unlimited, not only for the day you check in, but the day you check out.
Mm-hmm.
So again, something to think about. Whereas Disney, if you were to do that 2-day ticket,
Mm-hmm.
you got to pay that whole $259.86 again the next day.
Right.
If you want multi-pass and single pass.
Right.
Right. Again, we're going to spend 8 hours total in the parks. You could certainly spend longer.
Mm-hmm.
For lunch, because we want to keep it comparable to that bar and grill style. When we did this in 2019, we included ESPN Club, which sadly is no more.
Nope.
Eventually in its place will be Bakehouse,
Yes.
which was set to open early 2024. If anybody's keeping track of their calendar, it is late 2024. Not quite open. But Blue Ribbon Corn Dogs is now open.
Yeah.
And Rhonda's going to eat the pickle corn dog.
Okay.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'll get the dragon dog. Okay, so what are we eating at CityWorks Eatery and Poorhouse, which is what we've selected, and we do love it over here. So what do we
Yes. Pretzel bites for $11.95, a chopped salad for $20.45, a smokehouse burger for $21.95, a fried chicken breast sandwich for $19.95, drinks Pinot Grigio for $12, and a Kentucky Mule for $14, bringing your grand total to $128.18.
We did compare it to CityWorks when we did this in June of 2022, and this has only gone up $9
Not bad.
overall. Pretty
Not
good. Apples and apples. For dinner, the first time we did this in December of 2019, we did California Grill.
Yes.
When we were going to do this in June of 2022, they had moved to that prefix menu, so it was not comparable. So because it is one of our favorite places and has my favorite steak, we decided to price out Flying Fish for June 2022 and now here in 2024. And what are we eating here? I want to go back.
A shrimp cocktail for $18, filet mignon for $59, salmon for $48, organic chicken for $38, Pinot Gris for $18, and a beer for $10.50, bringing your grand total to $244.74.
What I think is absolutely shocking, and the only restaurant to really do this, 2 years ago, filet mignon, exact same price. 2 years ago, the salmon, exact same price. 2 years ago, the chicken was the exact same price.
Wow.
The only food item that went up, apples to apples, was the shrimp cocktail by $1.
Wow.
Which is pretty amazing, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So this only went up a total of $4 in 2 years. That's crazy.
Well, that is.
We're spending 9.92 hours here at Disney World, the same we did over at Universal. Certainly could spend more. Your grand total is going to be $2,232.25. Now, that's only a 7.06% increase from the last time we did this.
Okay.
Right? Your cost per hour comes down to $225.03. Again, that is a 7.03% increase. The increase at Disney between December of 2019 and June of 2022 was almost 16%. Now it's down to 7.
Okay.
All right.
I'll
That's
take
all of it. That's all of it. We're done. Are we done? Should we be done? Or should we do a little more math for the folks? The nice fine folks listening, right?
Yep.
Okay. Here's how we're going to break it down. If you're talking about the most expensive single cost, that is the amount you're paying for this trip. It doesn't matter how much time you're spending on the event. None of that's coming into play. The most expensive, coming in at number 10, is going to see that football game in Arizona at $2,819.
Mm-hmm.
Second most expensive, coming in at number 9 total, is we're counting down to the cheapest, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows I don't know how to go up or down when we're
Yes, they
ranking
do.
things.
That's true.
Or fixing the air. That's why I'm not allowed to touch the thermostat. I installed the thermostat because
Yes,
it's a
you did.
fancy one that you can control by your phone. Not allowed to touch it. It would be 97 degrees in here if you told me to turn the air down or up. You would say up. I still can't get it right. Okay. Yeah, $2,232.25 to go to Disney for this day.
Mm-hmm.
Breckenridge, you're going skiing, would cost you $1,964.67. The next cheapest, New York, let's see that Lion King Broadway show, $1,942.23. Going to Orlando, to Universal Orlando Resort, $1,812.89. Next lowest, going to see that concert in DC, going to see Justin Timberlake himself, which, yes, I would love to see.
Yeah.
That would cost you $1,680 and a single lucky penny. Going to Vegas, you're going to see the Blue Man Group. That would cost you $1,611.29. The very cheapest thing to do as far as single vacation cost is to go snorkeling in Key West for $1,168.17.
Okay.
That's not bad. Next up, let's talk about the increases, right?
Okay.
The greatest increase since we did this in June of 2022 was skiing in Breckenridge, which went up 23.95%.
That's a lot.
Next, we're comparing it to 2019 because we're doing that football game to football game. In Phoenix, went up 12.3%.
Okay.
We're still not at the average cost of inflation right now, which is 7.5%. Right.
Okay.
Now we're going to go under that by going to Disney World. Only 7.3% increase.
Okay.
Universal Orlando Resort down to 4.23% increase. Broadway show in New York, 1.64% increase. Not bad. This is what's amazing, is going to that concert in DC, negative 0.7%. So an actual decrease, right?
I like
Vegas
those.
Blue Man Group is down 1.81%. And finally, snorkeling in Key West is down 5.6%. So what does all this mean? Well, if you are running off of an individual number, if you say, all right, We listen to the Main Street Magic podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are trying to decide on where to go for our family vacation next year,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're going to do it on a weekend. We got one day, we got one night. It's in September. It's during the school year. We just want to get away for that weekend. We have a budget of X. That's where this would factor in, right? So if you said, I have a budget of $2,000, well, everything but a football game would be within your budget. If you say I have a budget of $1,500, right? You're still going to have to look at what those overall costs look like. So you're going to have to go, all right, for $1,500, we can do Key West snorkeling.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Now, if you're not as worried about the overall cost, but you're thinking which one of these has the absolute best value per hour.
Mm-hmm.
So the amount that you're spending and what you actually get out of it is what we're going to talk about. The worst bang for your buck, the highest priced per hour cost is going to that football game because it breaks down to $537.11 per hour for your family of 4.
Now, you can always make that longer by doing the tailgating.
Of course.
And then if it's a 1:00 game, it's crazy to me because I'm like, I mean, people have tailgated before and then they tailgate after.
Oh, after, for sure.
So you could broaden this and I feel like, quote unquote, break it down because you could spend longer hours there.
You certainly could. And you're right with all these. Just that one, for example, we won't do this with everyone, but let's just say you're spending 5.25 is what we broke it down to. Let's just say you're spending 8 total. You break it down to a much smaller amount.
Right.
But then you have to factor in what money are you spending on that tailgating or in the
Oh,
game, you know
absolutely.
what I mean? Are you going to that dinner or not?
Correct.
Maybe not. So really you could vary all of these, but we're trying to give you that broad idea of what it really costs and the value associated. Okay. Number 9. Broadway show in New York, your cost per hour is going to come out to $456.99. It's a lot.
It is.
Right? Vegas to see the Blue Man Group, that's going to break down per hour to $440.24.
Okay.
Next up, Washington, D.C., JT concert, $341.48. Following that is skiing in Breckenridge. Your per cost hour is going to come out to $248.06.
That's worth it.
Well, for you it is. We can cut down on costs there because I would be sitting in the ski lodge the whole time, sipping hot chocolate and eating jumbo soft pretzels with cheese.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Next up, we're snorkeling at Key West. Breakdown per hour, $237.43. People are listening. They're going, okay, well, that's cool, Jeremy. You named all the ones that don't have to do with Central Florida or theme parks, right? So that's pretty convenient. Where do those fall? Well, I'm going to tell you because I'm going in order. Everybody thinks that, first of all, everybody thinks that Disney World is the most expensive place on earth.
Yes.
Right?
That's what they say. It's very sad.
They often don't really make the comparisons to the cost at Universal. A lot of people don't say that Universal is as expensive as Disney. Well, when you break this down per hour, you're correct. Universal technically is not as expensive as Disney, but Disney is the second lowest cost per hour, the second lowest best value that you get at $225.03.
For all 4 parks.
Yeah, that's including all 4 parks, 4 people. And again, we capped this at 8 hours for one day in the parks. Universal comes out as the best value for your vacation to any of these locations at $182.75. Not far off from Disney.
This is only 2 parks.
Yes, only 2 parks. So again, when you really break that value, we could include that in there, but somebody who's much better at math would need to do that breakdown. Because what you really could do, technically, is cut Disney in half.
My brain hurts.
Right? You could take that 225 and cut it down to only, in theory, the cost of 2 parks. That would cut it in half.
Oh, yes,
you know what I mean?
Would. Mm-hmm.
And in theory, the tickets wouldn't cost as much.
Right.
So it actually would come down to less if Disney only had 2 parks here in Orlando.
Yeah.
So the whole point of this,
maybe you should have added Disneyland.
Well, and one thing I've thought about doing in the future is doing maybe an offset where we start to look at some international locations. We include something like a Disneyland, right? We could include a Universal Hollywood. We could certainly do, if people are interested, an episode that simply breaks down theme parks, both domestically and internationally. I mean, we've had people that have told us, and again, if you're looking to travel internationally, sometimes it could be cheaper to go to Paris, the city, not necessarily Disneyland Paris. It could be cheaper to go to Paris than it is to go to the Paris and World Showcase at Walt Disney World. Sometimes that is true, right? Okay. It's crazy. But the whole thing is to kind of break down that myth and debunk that Disney is so much more expensive than anywhere else.
Right.
And even if you don't want to talk about ticket pricing for theme parks, ticket pricing for a football game, ticket pricing for a concert, for ski lift, all of that stuff, simply go back, look at these notes, go back, listen to the episode, and look at the cost of food.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the cost of the hotel or the resort.
Right.
Those are truly comparable.
Right.
Everybody can argue, well, you can't really be fair with saying you spend 8 hours in Disney, but you only spend 3 hours at a concert. That's fair. Look at the other pricing. And you can see that Disney is either comparable, cheaper, or barely more expensive than most other places that you can go within the United States.
Okay.
Hopefully this has shed light for people. Again, if you want to go to
fun.
if you want to go to any of these destinations, if you want to go on a cruise, if you want to travel anywhere in the world, you can go to mainstmagic.com. You can click on the travel button. Amy, Alicia, MEI-Travel, Mouse Fan Travel, they will take very, very good care of you.
Yes.
We're so excited about this partnership. We're so excited about all the incredible things that are to come for Main Street Magic, for travel, for our listeners, for everybody in our social media communities.
Yes.
If you're not on there, you can go to any of the socials and you want to follow at Main ST Magic. Of course, you can look at our Facebook group and join the Main Street Magic community. If you want more episodes, including food and wine review, opening weekend, and our 700th show extravaganza, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can get the brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. And of course, myself and Rhonda would be so very thankful if you could please leave us a rating and review,
because it helps our show grow.
That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts. Main Street Magic's bringing it home.